So, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for this much anticipated session with our guest, inspirational guest, that is Majed Ben Ammar. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy work schedules. I know that some people have just left work and it's home time, and just we are really appreciate you for being here. So, my name is Nqobile Pamela Xaba. I'm your host for this session. And we run a podcast called the Diversity Roundtable, but we also do Zoom recordings where we invite inspirational leaders, really influential entrepreneurs as well in various sectors of our economy so that they can come in and share their journeys, their wins, their joys, their triumphs, and what has gotten and what has it took really for them to get to where they are in their lives, because no one was born successful, but it really, I guess, it takes guts to really push through and overcome some of the challenges that life throws our way. So, really, this is a platform where we explore leadership, we explore inclusion and impact across different industries. Hence, we called it the Diversity Roundtable. So, tonight, we will explore what it truly means to shift from working for a living to working for the living, which is a mindset that moves us from personal success to shared impact. And really, this topic was taken from one of Majid's LinkedIn posts, so I follow him religiously. I check out what he's writing and, what is the underlying message. And a few weeks ago, he wrote a really impactful post on LinkedIn that spoke about, how do we shift from working for a living to working for the living. So, Majid, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks, Pam. Thank you for having me tonight. And good evening, everyone. It's actually truly a privilege to be part of this conversation tonight.
No,
So,
wonderful,
the theme,
wonderful.
yeah, yeah. So, the theme tonight from working for a living, from working for a living to working for the living actually speaks very deeply to me. It reflects a shift that I have experienced, not just professionally, but personally as well. So, that shift actually I have come to believe that leadership isn't just about driving results, it's about creating ripples of impact. It's about asking who benefits from the work that we do, the work that I do, whose life is better because I showed up today. My hope tonight that the conversation is going to inspire all the guys here today to lead with more intention, to lead with more empathy, and to lead with more courage. Welcome everyone.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome. We really can't wait for you to unpack this. So if you can do me a favor, Majid, if you can come a bit forward because it's not picking you up when you speak. So that's why I'm always the one on the screen. And so when you actually speak, we'd like to have you on the screen as well so that
Okay.
you are
I'm
you
gonna
are
try, Pam. I'm gonna try.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Please do try. So really, Majid is a forward-thinking leader in the global automotive industry. He is known for driving operational excellence, strategic innovation, and a leadership philosophy that is rooted in integrity and purpose. So it's really an honor, Majid, to have you here. And I know that I approached you on LinkedIn a few weeks ago, and I managed to convince you that we should have this discussion. So thank you for granting us grace in that context.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Right.
Thanks, Pam. It's actually a
So
privilege to
before
be
we
part of
then,
this. Thank you
take a
so much.
deep dive into this topic, can you maybe just break the ice for us? Because it's also very important that for our guests and for our audience and everyone that has joined us on the call and those that will listen to this recording on our YouTube channel, they and have the context of who you are on a personal level and really what really drives you, what motivates you, and what are your values and what is it that you stand for, and then we'll kick in into the discussion. Obviously, you can share whatever that you are comfortable to share. Over to you.
Thanks, Pam. Thank you. Some of these guys here actually they know me, right? And they worked with me. So my name is Majed Ben Ammar. I come from different two industries, right? I combine the skies with the earth, basically, right? So I started my career in the aviation industry. I was a commercial pilot. I was flying planes. And then over a decade ago, I have decided I'm going to do some career shift here, right? It was a bold move and it was a risk that I was taking. And it's not just a change of career, it was actually a change of even countries. I moved to
Mm.
another country, came to South Africa, right? So different cultures, different career, everything is different, different language, different people. So I started my career in the automotive industry right from the bottom. But I was privileged enough over the years, right, from year one, to always have someone, somewhere, somehow taking a chance on me, someone, somewhere, somehow taking my hand and coaching me, mentoring me to be the leader that I am today. So today I work in the automotive industry. I'm the international markets delivery leader for a company called MS6 International. I lead different markets across the globe, from Japan to Australia to New Zealand to South Africa. So that's basically me in a nutshell.
Awesome, awesome. Really, that's quite a rich background, quite an inspirational one as well, you know. So we'd really be interested then that let's get into the crux of the topic, which is shifting from a living for a living to, sorry, working for a living to working for the living, you know. So the first segment that I've termed, Majid, to kickstart this discussion is really, you know, how do we go about building human-centered organizations, you know? And the prompt there is that how can leaders and organizations practically adopt this mindset of working for the living, creating stability and dignity for others in the context of the post that you put out? So can you just really unpack it for us in a practical sense?
Yes, so as talking about building a human-centered organization, right? To build a human-centered organization, we always need to start with intention, and intention comes with will, right? It's not just about hiring people for the skills. It's about potential. It's about mentorship that goes beyond performance reviews. It's about creating cultures where people feel safe to grow, people feel safe to fail and rise again, right? That's the ecosystem of opportunities and environments that's where people don't just survive. We need people to shift from their thinking from I want to survive to I want to thrive. Leaders play huge critical role here, right? Every decision a leader makes, who he promotes, who he listens to, how he show up, either expands or limits someone's future. So I'm going to repeat this one again, right?
Mm,
How a leader show up, who he promotes, who he listens to, and how he shows up either expands or limits someone's future. Right? That's
mm,
that's something that we always need to be very careful of. Modeling this daily means being present, being curious, and being willing to challenge the systems that excludes. We need to challenge those systems. So that's basically how I see it.
yeah, it's really being intentional about really how we actually take care of people's career paths, right? And making
Yep.
sure that in doing so we are inclusive, you know. So, and I often call this Majid is that when we make decisions as leaders, we need to ask ourselves critical question that says, you know, who are we making this decision for, right? And who
Yep.
is benefiting from this decision and who is being excluded, you know, from this decision. What's your take on that?
Like, yeah, I've always believed that leadership is less about climbing a ladder, right? Because that's how we see it.
Mm,
And it's about building a bridge. So we need to stop thinking when you are a leader, you're actually leading people. You are not managing people. You need to change that mindset of I'm managing something. No, I'm leading people towards something, right?
mm,
And that's why being in a leadership position, it's about stop thinking about climbing ladder and start thinking about building a bridge, because title changes, your salary fades, right? Your salary, actually, the debit order is gonna eat it the same day you get paid. But the lives that you touch, that what actually remains.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of legacy, that's what a leader wants to leave behind, the one that multiplies. So leadership to me is about planting seeds that you never see how they're gonna grow, right? It's like you have a packet of
Yeah.
seeds, and you are walking and you're planting a seed, and you are not waiting to see if that seed is gonna grow or not, right? But trusting that they will. That's basically it for me.
Yes. Oh, you just said something that's very funny, but also quite profound. You just said that
Yeah.
salaries fade. And I think
Yeah.
the salaries fade is sometimes the same
Debit
day,
orders
same
first.
week that they have come in,
Yeah.
right? Because we've got
Yeah.
so much responsibility, but I think that ties back into the legacy of leadership. You've said that salaries fade,
Yep.
but so do titles, because titles also fade. So these titles are borrowed, but what is most important is the lives that remain. So when salaries fade, when titles fade or change, but the lives we touch remain. So
Yep.
in that context, the lives that we touch remain. How has this view then shaped your leadership journey and your leadership philosophy?
So, Pam, is simple, right? I mean, to change someone's life, to give mentorship, to guide someone, to coach someone, you don't need budget. You
Mm,
don't need big title. You don't need like a huge budgets or something. Right? You don't need even to be sometimes employed, right? It's,
mm,
I mean, it's as easy as like looking at your neighbor who's not working, the young man, right, and sitting next to him and helping him do a CV. It's as easy as calling someone to refer that young man to, if you have some connection. It's
mm,
I mean, you don't need budgets or titles for this, and that's what I always keep preaching to the guys, right? I mean, to
mm,
help someone, to coach and mentor, there's no much effort that you need to put. So why not do it? Why
mm,
can't we do it?
mm. Yeah, so it doesn't take much. So I mean, there's a saying that it won't cost you anything to be kind, because what you just alluded to, Majid, it really borders on kindness, isn't it?
Yep, yep. Paying
You
it
know,
forward, basically, right? You just pay it
yes,
forward and don't expect anything in return, right?
yeah.
We all believe in karma, right? All of
Hmm.
us, we believe in that. And we know paying it forward means somewhere, somehow, someday, that I will get it back. But
Yeah.
I'm not expecting anything now. It will come back to me somewhere, somehow, through someone else. So that's what I always believed in. And I had my own personal experiences with this, right? I have taken chances on so many people that no one could believe that they can make it. Today they are leaders, they mentor
Mm,
people, they coach people, they load people. And the same thing happened with me, right? When I was actually through my leadership journey.
mm,
I had the good leaders and the bad leaders. And the good
mm,
leaders taught me how to be a good leader, and the bad leaders taught me what not to do, right? How to avoid being that leader. So both of them I learned from them, right? So it's simple. It's really simple. We just need to apply it on our everyday's interaction around the people that we see around us, around the colleagues, the cousins, the
mm.
families, the friends of the friends, right? Just pay it forward. It will come back. Don't expect it now, but it will definitely come back.
Yep. No, absolutely. And that is such a powerful reminder. That is such a powerful reminder that says that we should view leadership as legacy and not a ladder. So that
Yep.
once we are long gone and the titles are no longer there, what is the legacy that you are leaving behind for others? Because it's not so much about you, but it's the impact and the lives and the careers and the actual human beings because at the end of the day, everything around us centers around humanity. And how often do we gravitate to, really, unimportant issues like race and gender, who is black, who is white, who is the skin color, whether they are male or female or whatnot. Yes, because this is the world that we live in. But I think the most important thing is that when we start seeing ourselves as human beings and humanity first, before anything else. And I think that's where really the needle will shift, where we'll see more and more leaders, like yourself, having this type of mindset of paying it forward, of working for the living. Is that, how do I impact positively the next person, whether they are white or Indian or black or whatnot, it doesn't matter. But for as long as they are also willing to show up in that space and also do their bit in terms of their personal as well as their professional growth as well. So, Majid,
Yep.
I hope you remember, because I'm sure you do, because you wrote this very long post,
Yeah.
on LinkedIn, So I would just really love for you to actually unpack it for us, maybe word for word. And what were your thoughts on that day when you wrote? Because
Uh,
it's not everyone that's in the call here, maybe that might have seen that post that you put out on LinkedIn, amongst others. But just unpack it for us. What was going through your mind? And because it was quite a long post, can you just take us through the thinking on that day?
Look, the thinking was simple, right? It was
Mm,
about personal reflection. I was looking back at my own personal career, and
mm,
I was thinking, and I realized at that moment that my most meaningful moments were not tied to my promotions or the projects that I was worked on. I know it sounds crazy, right? But that was my most meaningful milestones were never tied to the promotions or the projects that I worked on to be the leader I am today.
mm,
They were tied to people. They were tied to someone who gave me a hand. They were tied to someone who took a chance on me. They were tied to a colleague who found their own voice. They were
mhm,
tied to a team that felt seen. They
mm,
were tied to a young professional who believed in themselves, but
mhm,
who actually believed in themselves because someone else believed in them first. You get it? So I wrote that post just to remind myself and others that our real legacies isn't what we built. It is who we actually build. And
mm,
sometimes it's the smallest gestures. It's very small gestures, right? A word of encouragement, listening to someone, uh, an opportunity that you give to someone. That what creates the biggest wave. So that post was about this, right?
mm,
It was about all of this because again, I'm gonna repeat it. It was about people during our journey.
mm.
Every single person that I have mentioned, from the young professional to the team member to the colleague to the person who gave you a hand, it was about that. It was about that and nothing but that.
Yeah. So, and it's very important. And now let's dive. Let's focus our energy into the industry that you are in, the automotive industry, right? On an
Yep.
international platform, as well as in an African context, as well as in a specifically South African context, because you are based in South Africa today. So, what are you seeing then in the space? Because also the automotive industry is the biggest contributor to our GDP in South Africa in terms of the economy, right? So, in the context of leadership, building legacy, working for the living, empowering others, and having the humanity lens first. So, maybe just highlight for us in this context, what are some of the challenges that we are seeing in this space? And what you think could be then the solutions, and how maybe also leaders can show up better in this industry, but also not without putting so much pressure on leaders, because this is everyone's responsibility as well. So challenges, what could be the solutions, or even some of the things that also work well? I know that it's a fully loaded statement, so I'm hoping that you will unpack it
It
for
is.
us, probably for the next 10, 15 minutes or so.
Yes, so we know automotive industry in general, not just in South Africa, is a male dominant environment.
Mm.
So the automotive industry biggest challenge today is having more women in leadership positions, and not just to fill quotas. It's not to talk about just having a lady to be a manager just because she's a lady. We want to see more women technicians. We want to see more women engineers. We want to see more women that are standing in the plants leading people, right? So that's the first challenge. The male dominance needs to change in the industry.
Mm.
That's from a human perspective. And the second biggest challenge that we have today, not just in South Africa, it's big in South Africa, and it's actually an interesting challenge, Pam. Right?
Mm.
You worked in the automotive industry, and I'm sure you heard this so many times.
Yeah.
The shortage of technicians, right? I
Mm.
mean, Australia and the US and all of these countries, they are creating a visa for someone who becomes a master tech, right, to come and live there and earn a salary.
Mm.
South Africa has one of the highest unemployment rates in the world, right?
Yeah.
We have a lot of young professionals today in South Africa who are looking for jobs. They are
Mm.
looking for opportunities. But we know that there's a huge shortage on automotive technicians,
Mm.
and that job pays well. But in the same time, we have a problem with unemployment rate. Why these two doesn't meet each other? Why companies doesn't invest to fill
Mm.
that shortage, right? Because
Mm.
that will reduce your unemployment rate in South Africa. Every dealership need on average 3 to 5 technicians, right?
Mm.
Every plant needs hundreds of technicians. And it's interesting. It's interesting topic. Always I talk about it, and always actually puzzles me, because I'm thinking, if we have this a huge shortage in a country that has the highest unemployment rate, why no one investing in these young people who are, most of them are highly educated. Their parents, they spend money to put them through universities, to actually, some of them they took loans, right? They're struggling to study, to make a living. But no one, there's no drive to say, let's take these young guys and put them in this,
Mm.
because that's an opportunity for everyone. That will
Mm.
change the economy also, right? But unfortunately, we don't see it today. We don't
Mm.
see it today. We still talk about shortage of technicians every single day, and I'm sure a lot of the guys here, they are from the automotive industry, can attest to that, right? It's known
Mm.
challenge, and at the same time we're still complaining about unemployment rate. So what's the government and the private sectors they are doing together to fill that gap? No one is filling it.
Mm.
No one. We talk about it, we complain about it in every leadership talk, in every automotive talk. Yes, we have skill shortage in South Africa about automotive technicians. But what are you
Mm.
doing about it? Are we changing anything? I don't see the change personally, and I'm
Mm.
sure a lot of people here don't see that change. So
Mm.
that's one of the biggest challenges that always like raise big question mark on my head, like why?
Mm.
In a country that has one of the highest unemployment rates. And
Yeah.
again, just to shift from that topic and jump into another topic, right? Maybe on a
Mm.
positive note.
Mm-hmm.
South Africa has the South African people. I walk across different cultures. South African people, they are go-getters. You put them anywhere, they grab that opportunities.
Mm.
They don't back off, right?
Mm.
So, I mean, with all of these Chinese automotive manufacturers that they are coming here, with
Mm.
all of this investments that's coming here through the World Bank and the IFC and all of these guys who are coming together to build something in Africa. South Africa has rare earth. South Africa has the young people who can
Mm.
drive that change in the economy.
Mm.
South Africa has the skills, the education, the infrastructure.
Mm.
South Africa has everything
Mm.
to set South Africa for success. So I would say South Africa has a brighter future, right? And Africa in general has a brighter future in the automotive industry if we look at it from that positive perspective.
Mm. Sure, and we do have the brighter future. But if I were to prompt you, in terms of this child, what do you think are the barriers? You spoke about the shortages of, I mean, the shortage of technicians, and So what needs to be done in your view, and what is hindering us from actually, getting more technicians in this space?
To be honest, it's simple. I mean,
Mm,
let's just put it this way. If 5 or 6 or 10 automotive companies tomorrow create
mm,
something called pipeline project, right? In that pipeline project, you take the young people from metric and you put
mm,
them through 9 months course and you keep feeding that pipeline, right? You keep
mm,
feeding that pipeline here. Now the young person will come through that pipeline to get training, let's say
mm-hmm,
on Toyota, Ford, Nissan, whatever brand, right?
mm-hmm,
And they come out of the other side of the pipeline as a qualified master tech or a
mm-hmm,
qualified technician, right?
mm,
It doesn't need much. It just needs the government to come together and say, you know what, I will fund that pipeline project while the person is studying in that 9 months or a year, right? Because that's the
mm-hmm,
challenge. That's where everyone is like, oh, I'm not going to spend money, right?
mm,
So if they can come together and say, look, we are willing to invest in 1 year pipeline project to create and fill that skills gap that we have in the country. And we have it
mm-hmm,
actually globally, right? But in South Africa specifically, you can create that pipeline project. You can fund it by paying these young professionals, let's say even small amount while they are studying, right? Until they finish. By the time they finish, we know technicians, they get paid well. So they
mm,
can stand on their feet, these guys. They can have a job. We need people to have jobs, and that's the problem, right? So, I mean, there's no challenge. We create our own challenges, right? We say it's
yeah.
a challenge because no one wants to come to the party and say, let's do it. Let's
Mm-hmm,
just do it.
mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a will. I think the challenge is the will, right? It's not the skill.
Yes, it's a war. No, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right, Majid, and you're actually giving us quite a whole lot to think about. With auto monitoring here, we have about 31 people in the call. Obviously, that's including myself and yourself. So we just really like to thank everyone that has taken time to join this conversation. We really appreciate you for being here, really. So we will open up shortly just for Q&A and input and comments, just to also engage, with Majid on this topic. So for those that came in after we had started, really the topic that we are unpacking is called, how do we shift from working for a living to working for the living? Because this was really inspired by one of Majid's posts that he put out on LinkedIn, which really talks about intentional and inclusive leadership and the impact and the difference that we ought to make in humanity, with all of our differences and backgrounds and different perspectives. So what is it going to take really for us to move the needle forward, not only in the automotive industry, but in society, in our communities and our workspaces in general, in all of our diverse thinking and our diverse ways of doing things. So I was just setting the context and the tone in terms of this discussion and really where we are. And we are just so fortunate to have leaders like Majid in this industry and in our economy in South Africa who are actually willing to come in and actually share the knowledge and the insights in terms of, how do we then practically move forward. So Majid, I'm just going to read here in the chat. Um, we've got about 3 comments so far. So you're more than welcome to interact. Put as many comments as you can so that we can interact with Majid in the next 10 minutes. But there is someone called T who made a comment called "A leader is a teacher," right? So thank you for teaching us this evening, Majid. And Lee is saying 100% correct, Majid. I think maybe he was responding to one of the points that you made. And then we've got Chandra, who is saying 100% Majid. My son wants to be a technician and it is a good career, right? And then we have Ella, who's saying that you need to dress up and show up Thank you, Majid. And I
Exactly.
love what Ella is saying because,
Yes, yeah, I love it.
opportunities are not just going to land on your plate, and they're not going to drop from the sky and land on your plate. You need to, we always talk about the power of visibility. You need to work hard, show up, be hungry to learn and be teachable as well, because, no matter where you are in life, you must never stop learning as well. So I think, Majid, let me just, talk about this power of visibility and being teachable in the context of the leadership game that you have unpacked. What does it mean for young people that are aspiring to be technicians, that are aspiring to enter the automotive industry, or be active citizens and participants of the economy? What does the notion being teachable, what does it mean?
So, yeah, it's it's a challenge, right, for young people today to be technicians. It's not easy. It costs
Mm,
money and time, right?
mm,
And a lot of these guys who wants to be technicians today and who wants to actually change their own lives, who wants to put food on the table for their families, they don't have that money. You don't
mm,
have that money to spend today to go to engineering college and do the N1, N2, N3, and then go and specialize in certain brand and then get certified on that certain brand and start from level 1, level 2, level 3 and go through electrical to mechanical and all of this. It's not easy, Pam. It's not easy.
mm,
That's why I'm saying this needs a government and private sector to come
mm,
together to take these young guys and give them this opportunity. It's not easy for a parent today in South Africa in this economy, right, to just put their sons or their daughters to that engineering classes. It's not easy.
mm,
People get opportunities sometimes through bursaries, but not everyone gets that opportunity. There should be a call to action to government and private sector today, right? Like
mm.
Ayla said, dress up and show up. Let's do it, right?
Yeah,
To change these young people lives. It's a
yeah.
crisis. The unemployment rate is a crisis. It's not something that anyone can just say, okay, how can I make someone tomorrow become a technician? It's not as easy as that. It's not.
Mm,
It costs money. It does
mm,
cost money, and people
mm,
don't have that. Not everyone have that money.
mm,
So it's a call to action to
mm,
government and private sector to start investing in the youth, to
mm,
start putting the effort to say, let's do something about this. I
mm.
have a skill shortage in something, and it's
Yeah.
thousands. I'm not talking about you need 100 technicians today. No, you don't need 100 technicians today. You need thousands technicians today in South Africa, right? And you
Mm,
have thousand young people on the other hand, whose their family is trying to put food on the table to make ends meet, and they cannot afford to put their kids into these colleges to study
yeah.
and to fill that gap.
Mm,
It's a challenge. It's not as straightforward, Bam, and I think it's something that we should put a call to action for, right? It's a
yeah.
crisis.
Yeah. Yeah, you actually read my mind, Majid, because I'm just saying, we have so many conferences, we have so many webinars where we talk about known issues, and this is also a known problem and it's a known issue. Yeah. And when we say,
Yep.
call to action, what is the practical step? Because one would say, now, if you approach OEMs, for example, they say, no, we invest so much on skills development. We invest so much on, on special economic zones, with the government. And, but, we still have the shortage of technicians in this industry. So what is then the call to action? Where does this money go? What is happening? Why do we still have the shortage? And what is really the call? So where I'm going this, what is then the tangible action, because we are done talking. And the thing is that maybe the weakness that we also have as South Africans and as societies that we will talk about our problems nonstop. But when it's time to act, something happens, and then we all look at each other and no one wants to take the first step. I'm not saying that nothing has been done, don't get me wrong. So there are also nice and wonderful things that have been done in this sector. But I'm just saying that, how can we then take robust action to save this, to solve this problem for the next generation? What is this call to action
To
and
be
what is the practical step?
to be honest, to empower OEMs and service providers, right? To have more service providers, to have BE points and all of that, they went and they created something called the AITF, the Automotive Industry Transformation Fund. But
Mm,
that's directed at certain target, right? What prevents us today, the same OEMs who are contributing to that, and the same government sector who's empowering that, to create another fund, call it
mm,
a skill shortage fund. It's
mm,
automotive skill shortage fund, IT skills, you can call it whatever, right? And
mm,
apply the same principles that you have today for the AITF, which is the Automotive Industry Transformation Fund. Apply it on that. The OEMs who are contributing today millions, which is around 2%, I believe, to 3% of their revenue towards the AITF, right?
mm,
Okay, keep that going. Let's create something else. Don't contribute 2%. Contribute 0.05% of your revenue, right? To
mm,
fill that gap. And
mm,
then use that fund. And maybe you can put MPOs to manage that fund for you.
mm,
You can put educational institutions to manage that fund for you, right?
mhm,
And start creating that pipeline project that you need today to
mhm,
have that skill shortage filled. And I'm not just talking about automotive industry, yes, because I
mhm,
am from the automotive industry. That's the skill shortage that I know of.
mm,
But I'm sure you come to IT, you'll see that. You come to maybe agriculture, you'll see that. So there's
mhm,
gap everywhere where you are actually having the highest unemployment rate. So just to make it simple today, right? I want
mm,
anyone here to go and write on Google, right? Critical skills visa. Just
mhm,
write that. And then
mhm,
and then you will see South Africa has something called critical skills, a skills shortage in the country. The Department of Labor issues every year, and then they pass it to the Department of Home Affairs, right? The Department of Home Affairs brings, uh, based on that skill shortage, right, issues
mhm,
visas to foreigners to
mhm,
come into South Africa, like me, right? To come
mhm,
into South Africa, right, and fill that gap.
mm,
Now, by just doing that simple research, by looking at that list of skill
mm,
shortage that you have, okay, and start working on a fund, skill development fund, or whatever you want to call it, and
mhm,
start filling what you are giving critical skills visas for.
mm,
Just there, just start there. You know where you have shortage in the skills, and
mhm,
you know exactly how to fill those skills, right? All you
mhm,
need just the money, the
mm,
money.
mm,
And the money will come if you come to the automotive industry, to the IT industry, to the agriculture industry. You have a problem. You tell them you have a problem. You are
mm,
suffering, not me.
mm,
You are suffering with the skill shortage, not me, right?
mm,
Now, to fill that gap, here's how much you need to contribute, and then you will not suffer, and they will not have unemployment rate, high unemployment rate. It
mhm,
just takes that conversation, someone to trigger that conversation, someone to bring these people together and put the facts in front of them and say, here's the problem that you are facing. You are complaining every day about this skill shortage. What are
mm,
you doing about it? How can you
mm,
change it? Here's the solution I'm bringing you today, right?
mm.
Will you come to the party and be part of that solution? Or you just want to back off and say, sorry, I don't want to contribute?
No, you have really prompted something in me. I mean, as you are talking, I'm just really getting goosebumps and I'm feeling a bit emotional. But I'm also feeling very, happy and honored and privileged to actually, because, to listen to some of these wonderful ideas really about what we can practically do right over and above. And it really takes, an organization, either an NPC or an NPO and whatever, that is well run,
Yep.
in terms of governance, in terms of accountability, in terms of audit, and to actually go to these industries and say, to your point, here is the problem, here is how the problem can be solved. So how do we then partner? And we actually put an evaluation and a monitoring mechanism over a period to say, okay, this is how we will measure the success of this period over the next 3 years, over the next 5 years. And then please go and manage this for us so that we have this continuous talent pipeline that is being trained, mentored, coached, and so that when they enter the workplace, either in the technology sector or the automotive sector or the agricultural sector, then they are almost like workplace ready in terms of, I think it's Ella who made a point in terms of how they dress
Yep.
up and show up, right? Because also the other challenge that we have, in our country, and I think it's also the African challenge, is that, we've got young people that come from institutions of higher learning, universities, technical colleges, and they learn theory. And, but when you enter the workplace, it's not the textbook that will actually
Yeah.
help you to do your job. It's actually the
Yep.
combination of IQ and EQ as well. So how do we
Yep.
then get these young people into this pipeline where they are mentored, taught technical skills that are specific to their industry, but also emotional intelligence skills, so that the organizations that employ these young people and these individuals, they don't have to worry about the simple things in terms of how people ought to show up in the workplace. And thank you for that. You've given us an idea, and I'm sure in the audience and people that have gracefully joined this call, we can really put our heads together in terms of how do we actually bring your idea to life, because we've got big networks and we've got brilliant minds in this call. We've got brilliant minds in our industries. They can get together and actually say, maybe it's high time that we do something about it for our kids as well. Because someone in the call mentioned that their son wants to be a technician. So how do we solve this problem for our children for the future as a society?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, part of being or part of saying it's a call to action, right? Even the educational institution, are they really teaching what the market
Mm.
lacks in terms of skills today? Or we have just private universities, private colleges, all they care about is just gaining the money, gaining the student fee that they get paid, and making the student go through 4 years, 3 years journey, and then he comes out the other side with the certificate that cannot help him anywhere. I mean, even the education institution, they need to come to party, right? They need to actually
Mm.
do their own analysis. What the market lacks today in terms of skills
Mm.
versus what am I actually teaching? Am I
Mm.
creating more problem for the unemployment by teaching things that the country doesn't need,
Yeah.
the market doesn't need, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are we making the problem bigger, or are we trying to assist here? That's where the educational institutions also need to come to party as part of that call to action as well, right?
Mm. No, absolutely. Let me just, let us not leave our guests and our audience and everyone that has joined in the call. So let us also engage, because I see a couple of comments as well in the chat, and we'll also open the line, for those that really want to raise their hand, unmute themselves and actually engage with you and ask questions, input, give suggestions, recommendations in the context of everything that we have unpacked for us here this evening. So I see there's also a comment from Ibrahim Abubakar, who's saying that this is very inspirational. I see we have an audience from China as well on this podcast. Oh, that is really
Nice.
wonderful. Welcome. So we are just really grateful that you could join us. And then we've got Mohammed Amin, who's saying, I 100% agree that the government should invest in this. Not only will it benefit the youth, but the infrastructure will automatically fall into place. 100%,
100%.
100%. But we also talk about the private-public partnership in this as well. So how do we also collaborate to move the needle forward? Thank you for that comment, Mohammed. Then we've got Janine Naidu, who's saying a growth mindset is key. Leaders with a growth mindset see challenges as opportunities to learn, value effort over perfection, and model continuous improvement. This mindset builds resilient, adaptable teams that embrace feedback, innovation, and growth. That is such a warm, a heartwarming statement, Janine, and very profound as well. Thank you so much for that. And then we've got Teresa Vika, who's saying, good afternoon. Thank you very much for this insightful discussion. Very well articulated, Majid. So thank you so much. This is very engaging. So it is 10 to 7. We have time booked until 15 minutes or 15 minutes after 7. So let us then just really hear from our audience on this call tonight. Just please unmute yourself, put on your video, and if you've got a question for Majid or even a comment or a suggestion or input, recommendation, we'd really, really love to hear your thoughts. And because I always say, Majid, that, we don't network and meet people just for the sake of it, is that, how do we come up with practical solutions and bring this to life? We're not saying that it's a magic wand, but it's something that we can start working on. And then if we look back 5 years from now and say, actually, this idea was born from a discussion on the 23rd of October on a Zoom call. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes. Yeah.
So absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's go for it. The line is open. Please kindly unmute yourself, put on your video, and ask the question or give input or comment. Would really love to hear your insights as well. So let me see if I'm not missing any hand. So anyone that would like to be brave and engage us,
Guys, don't be shy. It's fine.
don't be shy now. Don't be shy, please.
Yeah.
Okay, there we've got
Hi,
Mohammed Amin. How are you, Mohammed?
I'm very well, thanks. I actually stayed up until midnight for this. Very inspiring and very true. So I'm in China, in Beijing at the moment, and
Nice.
I 100% agree that the government should invest in the future of the future leaders, if we may say that. Hello?
Yes, we can hear
Yeah, we
you.
can hear you, Mohammed.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. As for how to get the government involved, I'm not sure if the DTI can play a role in that. So I do know one or two people in the DTI. I can reach out to them and find out if how to go along to get the funding that's needed in order to invest in the future of electric technicians and hybrid technicians in South Africa.
Nice.
Comment on that, Majid. Thank you so much, Mohammed. We'll definitely, reach out to you. But your comment, Majid, on that?
Yes, I think DTI also will play a big role in this, right? Because
Mm,
DTI, they bring the investment in the country, right? And it should be actually part of any investor, like these big companies that they are coming here, right?
mm,
To put a condition there, right? I don't want you just to invest in infrastructure.
mm,
I don't want you I don't want you to just employ bunch of people that they are ready for you. Right? Let's put a criteria and say tomorrow, if you want to invest in South Africa, I have
mm,
high unemployment rate. Right?
mm,
Let's do this for me. I want you to educate 1,000 person to
mm,
fill a gap for me
mm,
over a year. I want you to contribute towards the education of 100
Mm,
50. You're going to make a
mm,
change. Even if you put a criteria to say, I want you to teach one person, right?
mm,
Based on the size of the investor who's coming here. We know South Africa is attracting a lot of investors. South
mm,
Africa has the biggest, in terms of automotive industry, South Africa has the biggest auto
mm,
manufacturers. They are based here, right?
mm,
And I'm sure in other industries as well. I mean, if you put a condition there for that investor who's coming here today to say, I want you to be part of a pipeline project, it's an educational project to empower our youth, and I want you to contribute this amount, I don't think they will say no. I don't think they will say no.
mm.
If you put it as a criteria, I think that's something. It may work. I'm just saying it, right? We don't know about how the government works, but I mean, as an idea, yes, it should work.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. So, Mohammed, I'm going to put you on the spot and actually ask you if you can. I'm assuming that you are on LinkedIn.
Yes, I am.
Yes, if you can
Yes,
just
I am.
drop a message, a message on LinkedIn with Majid. Just go to his DM direct message and just leave your email and your phone number, and then I'll connect with Majid and
Yes, please.
see, how do we connect and maybe collaborate with other people and see how do we actually move these ideas forward. Because I think we shouldn't just get together on an evening like this and take time out just for the fun of it and just for the sake of talking. So
100%. I
yes,
I did not stay up until midnight to just for fun.
yeah,
So
thank you.
100%, it's all about
Thank you
networking.
so much.
Absolutely.
Thank
So
you so
please
You
much,
leave your
will
Mohammed.
email on LinkedIn for Majid and your number, and I'll connect with him.
100%.
Yes, please.
Thank you so
Okay.
much, Pamela.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let me check if we are not missing anyone that would like to contribute a comment or a question, or does anyone have a question for Majid? Please unmute, raise your hand. Yes, we've got Ibrahim. Please unmute Ibrahim Abubakar and put your video on and ask the question.
Hi, Majid. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Ibi.
All right. In the beginning, you said you were a commercial pilot. So I want to know what was the influence factor or the motivational factor that brought about this change and this move from the air to the land.
Look, I had not any commercial pilot career. I had a different career, okay, in the aviation industry. So, yeah, so I decided to stop for some personal reasons, and also I was tired of living in a suitcase. Okay. It's as simple as that. I was tired of living in a suitcase. I couldn't live in a suitcase for the rest of my life. I couldn't be in a suitcase for the rest of my life. I needed a family. I needed people around me. I needed I needed to feel like I belong somewhere, right? And that's the reason that I shifted from aviation to automotive.
Thank you so much for
I
that.
I needed to belong. Yeah, it was a personal choice basically.
Which just reminds me, and that's a very good question, really, Ibi. Just reminds me, Majid, that life is a journey and life is very long, and the leadership path is not linear, also, right? And you might start off as something else, and then you might end up, as something else. So that's why adaptability is very key, and also recognizing
Yep.
where you are in your life and why and what has gotten you to that point and what is it that's going to move you forward, isn't it?
Yep.
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 Yep. So let me just check. Thank you so much, EB, for that. Anyone else who has a question or comment? Oh, we've got Teresa Vika.
Good afternoon. Well spoken, Majid. I just have a
Thank
question. In the news, at times you get information that's not necessarily what is on the ground. What has been happening with the tariffs. I've seen some companies scaling down. I know in PE there's manufacturing entities that have closed down. what is the impact on the side? And then my second question is around, I know the government works a lot with CETAs, and I've just Googled that automotive falls under the, I may not be pronouncing it correctly,
Mercita.
but the MERSETA. MERSETA.
Yes.
What contribution are they making towards skills development? Because I'm just thinking about what we're talking about and what role can they play to contribute towards the recommendations that you are making in terms of that pipeline. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure. So I'll just start with tariffs, right? The tariffs is impacting everyone. It's impacting Europe. It's impacting the whole of Africa. That's a fact, right? It has its economic impact on the whole of Africa, the whole of Europe, the whole of South America, even the neighboring countries, Canada, they are getting impacted. But here's the opportunity, right? A lot of people, they see today the Chinese automotive manufacturers as a threat, but they should be seen it as an opportunity, right? Because what prevents South Africa today, right, of partnering with all of these Chinese manufacturers, and even the legacy OEMs to start creating and building cars for Africa, building what the African market needs. I know it's not the scale that they will want, right? Because most of the automotive manufacturers in South Africa, they are based on the Europe market and the American market. But the reality is, if you travel to Nigeria today, right, you see that most of the vehicles there, they are not even coming from any auto manufacturer that's in Africa. They are actually coming from Europe. They are coming, it's second-hand cars. They are coming from Europe. They are coming from North America. They are coming from Canada. They are coming from Korea. So there is an opportunity to turn this threat into an opportunity, right? I mean, if you look at any threats, there's always an opportunity in a threat, right? And I don't think this tariffs is going to carry on forever. Yes, the OEMs are impacted because the OEMs today, they are basing their business on Europe. They are basing their business on North America, right? That's the fact. But if you base your business on different market, what will happen? What will happen? If you base your business about the market that you are in, what will happen? And with regards to the Mercita, I'm really not sure what contribution that they have towards this. And maybe it's something that need to be explored, right? I know that Mercita also they do some technician training and all of that. But what I know that they actually take whoever that's ready, right? And then they put them through that different levels to qualify them for some of the brands, basically, right? That's what I know. I'm not sure. I stand to be corrected, but I don't think they are part of any pipeline project. I don't think they contribute to any pipeline project. I don't think they are filling the skill shortage that you have today. I don't think that they are contributing to the high unemployment rate to bring it down today. That's the facts that we have today.
No, thanks, Majed. We definitely need to speak to the leadership to refocus
Yep.
because there's the opportunity, definitely, like you mentioned.
Yes, yeah, that's where the private and the government sector where they need to come together. Are we going to invest in the future of South Africa? Are we willing to do that? That's the question that need to be asked. Because that's an investment in your future, right? That's investment in the future. Well, I'm my mid 40s, someone else sitting here, maybe they are in their late 50s, right? I mean, it's about the
It
future. It's
is.
about the
It
guy
is.
who did not even reach matric today. He's actually
Mm,
15 or 16. Where does he see himself? Where do I fit in the market? Do I
mm,
have an opportunity, or I will just finish my matric and I will sit there and be a number or a stat in the unemployment rate?
mm. But definitely. Thanks, Majid.
Bridget?
Thank you so much for that. So another task that I'm taking from this engagement and this question, was it Teresa? Yes, is we need to just do more research in terms around the MESITA activities.
Yes.
So that's a takeaway. Thank you so much. I think there was someone else who had their hand up. It is now 1 minute after 7, so we literally have 14 minutes left of this call. I just want to check that I am missing anyone that didn't have their hand up. Waiting for the hand to come up. Let me go to the chat and just really check the comments there as well for everyone's benefit, so that we don't miss really important information that is being shared in the chat. So we've got Shadre Neka, please forgive me if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. That's the diversity around right there. That's my Zulu tongue trying to pronounce names that are not similar to mine. So just bear with me. So Shadra is saying that it will definitely help a lot of parents that cannot give more than they already can to their kids. It will be an opportunity for a lifetime. A lot of families are not able to do it and have such bright and wonderful kids that are not given the opportunity to shine. Our youth is our future. Thank you. That is very, very profound. Hence, we actually need to do our bit and, take the suggestions from this call and actually see how we move it forward over a period of time. And then we've got Ashley, who's saying that, hi, Majid, for someone who does not know anything in the automotive industry, where would you start? In the admin role, in the admin side? And how would you find a good mentor? So this is a question, Majid, from Ashley. Someone
Yes.
who does not know anything from the automotive industry, where do you start? And how do you find a good mentor?
Knock the door, right? You can
Yeah.
start as a service advisor. You can start as a warranty administrator. You can start as an appy, right, in the workshop. You can start anywhere you want. You can start, right? How do you get mentor? Everyone needs a mentor, right? But do we really have people who are actually saying, I want to mentor 10 people today? Do we have leaders today who are sitting there and saying, okay, what do I do after 5? Can I prepare 1 hour or 2 hours for a person like Ashley mentioned here who's trying to start somewhere and he doesn't know how to tell them, okay, here's how you go about it to be a warranty administrator. Here's what you need to learn. Here's the systems that you need to navigate through. Here's the way how you submit a claim as a warranty administrator. Here's how it works. Here's how the OEM will respond to you as a service advisor today. Here's how you speak to customer. Here's how you do the booking for the customer vehicle. Here's how you open the job card. Here's how you keep the customer updated on their vehicle repair. So do we really today have people or leaders who are actually willing to sit an hour a day in a Zoom call like what we have now to talk today? Let's have a Zoom party about how to become a service advisor. Let's have a Zoom party about how to become a warranty administrator. Can we do that? Right? That would be the question from my side, actually.
Why can't we?
But we can start
Actually,
anyway, Ash. Yes,
yes.
yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it, Pam. Right? I'm just thinking about it now. Just triggered something in my head. Right?
Yes,
Let's do it.
and thank you, Ashley, for asking this question, because why can't we do it?
Yeah,
Because obviously we know
yeah,
that we get busy and we've got busy lives and whatnot. But if we do this once a month, every month for the next 12 months, and we invite
yeah.
different voices, different leaders from this industry, from the automotive sector on a monthly basis to share. And we pick a topic, how to become a service administrator, how to do certain things. And we curate like what we call a thought leadership series for the
Yes,
automotive sector. And we have monthly webinars that people can, because sometimes all that people need, Majid, realistically, is access to information, the how to, you know, and we take it for
yeah,
granted because,
yep,
so we know what, but we don't realize that people don't know what they don't know, right? And all that they
yes,
need is for someone to point them in the right direction, and then they go from there. So actually, this is a challenge that we have a monthly what we call Automotive Thought Leadership Series webinar. And because I'm sure you've got a huge network, in the sector, and we can even the people that are in the call, they say, okay, please invite the CEO, please invite this executive, but not only leaders, but even, people that are actually occupying those roles in the automotive. Invite a technician from company X to tell us, a
Yes.
day in the life of a technician, what it takes. And then we actually put it out there on social media. We advertise, then we invite young people to join the webinar. Yes,
Yes,
thank you,
and get the
Ashley.
young people to join those webinars, and let's even go further, right? Let's bring the HR expertise based on the information those experts in the automotive industry they are putting there to actually guide that person after this webinar how to prepare for a service advisor interview, what questions you will be asked and how to answer them, right? How would you prepare for a warranty administrator interview? And all of that. You are triggering something, Ashley, right? And I think, yeah, this
Yes,
this
because
can, yeah,
you
he's
spoke, it
triggering
goes
some,
back to your point, Majid, about
yeah,
mentorship, right?
yeah,
Because also you can't mentor people individually, one-on-one, because we've got limited time. So how do we do mass mentoring and mass coaching using
yes,
technology and webinars, and this is the platform for it. Ashley,
yep,
thank you. You have just started something.
yes, yeah,
No, thank you. So this is recorded. So we'll make notes in terms of what the key takeaways and the call to action and the things that we need to do as follow-ups. So thank you so much. So in the interest of time, we literally have, I think, 7 minutes. So let me finish reading the comments in the chat. And we've got Coco. I'm not sure if I missed okay. After Ashley, it is Coco who's saying, the call to action should be traced back to high school education, where there's the skills pipeline, where the skills pipeline really starts. Some examples programs look at the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative, development banks, both national and regional, and sometimes local government. Right. I've just come
yep,
from a South African Local Government Association Leadership Conference, actually literally this afternoon, which is over 3 days. So there's also the network that we have in the local government. And these ideas are just really, really awesome. But we need to also obviously pace ourselves because Rome wasn't built in a day. And I think the quickest way to start is just really to start the webinar, the thought leadership webinar, and then we build it from there. Thank you so much. And then we've got Fezile who say, good evening, everyone. Africa has great potential and the people living here don't see it. Such conversations open food for thought in terms of sharing shared knowledge and to expand the future of the youth of Africa. Certainly, Fezile, you are spot on. So we've got also the youngest population in the world, that is Africa. And then we
yep,
also have
yep.
Simi who's saying that Mesita does contribute to enrichment of apprentices and collaborate with various dealers to assist with training and growth of aspiring
That's good.
technicians. That is really good.
That's
And
good.
I think, Simi's point reminds me that, actually, this is really about access to information because also in this call, we were
Yeah.
wondering what does Meseta actually do? And it goes back
Yes.
to the
Yeah.
point that says we don't know what we don't know. And Simi has just really said, this is what they do. But then when we do this thought leadership webinars that we're going to do on a monthly basis, we actually then invite someone from Mesita to enlighten us
Mercita.
and
Yes.
tell us,
Yes. Come enlighten
how,
us. Yes.
how do they support and how do they get involved so that we connect the network in that fashion. So thank you so much. And we also have Simi follow up who's saying dealers collaborate with higher education institutions to mentor the students currently engaged with mentoring. There you go. So we've got really, really great information and a starting point in terms of what we can do with this thought leadership series. And Mandla is saying, great idea. And really, that is it in terms of the comments. It is such a rich discussion and a lot of ideas. And we're actually honored, Majid, that we started this discussion and just look at the engagement that we've received in
Yes.
this 1
Yeah.
hour, So thank you. We are grateful. Thank you, everyone that has managed to join us. We have 3 minutes of this call, maybe just the last take in case we have missed anyone who would like to comment or just give input in terms of all of these ideas. I would really love to hear your voice as we close. Okay, so if there isn't, let us close. So Majid, thank you so much. Thank you for actually
Pleasure,
being
Pam.
so gracious and thank you for being generous with your time and actually sharing your space and your knowledge and your insights. And I think we've really now started a community. And I think the promise that I am going to make on my side is really to listen to this recording again, take down the follow-up actions that need to be done, and then summarize and reach out, and we put our heads together in terms of, what is the practical step, to where to start in terms of, building this community. Because I mean, we had over 30 people in this call alone this evening. There is a community on its own. These are people that are saying, you are talking about something that resonates and you are willing to take an hour of our time to come and listen and contribute. And so let us not then waste their time and see this as a one-hit wonder and no follow-up. So I'll take it upon myself that I follow up with you and we actually come up with something tangible that will keep engaging this community so that it will grow into something that will make an impact and a tangible impact for the future. So on that note, Majid, your last words in the 2 minutes that we have, please
I
bless
will
us with your
just,
last
yeah,
words.
I'll just say thank you, Pam, and to everyone who joined us tonight. Thank you, guys. I know it's after hours and most of you are busy, but you chose to be with us tonight. Thank you so much for that. And if there's one thing I'm going to leave everyone with, success is personal, significance is shared, right? And as leaders, let us choose to lead in ways that lift others. Let us build legacies, not of power, but of purpose. And let us remember that the most important work we do as leaders is invisible, but it's deeply felt. That's what I'm going to leave you with. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So please look out. We'll upload this recording on our YouTube channel called the Diversity Roundtable, and we will then share the link and a write-up on LinkedIn. So follow me on LinkedIn, follow Majid on LinkedIn, and then you will find the YouTube link so that you can listen to this recording again. So on that note, thank you for joining the conversation. And we are just really reminded that our real value lies not just in what we do, but in who we lift as we rise. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank,
Goodbye.
thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.